So my original intent yesterday was to finish everything, and we were well on track to do that. But we got to a point where we've always had a vibration from this PTO shaft right here. And some of it was because I just thought that maybe I didn't quite have it perfectly set in there whenever I did the U-joint on the back of it over here on the implement side. So when I did that U-joint, that's where I kind of thought maybe I had it out of whack. But it got way worse. So it got to a point where before it was somewhere around that about 2200 RPM. So right at PTO speed, I had a little vibration to it. Well, it went from a little vibration to now at like, probably like 1300 RPMs. There's a pretty good vibration and it doesn't go away, and it kind of stays. It goes away for a little bit at like a sweet spot of like 1700, and then it's right back. So it's almost impossible on hilly ground to stay there. If it was perfectly flat ground that we were just back and forth, it'd be easy to do that, but didn't work. So bought a new PTO shaft. So we're gonna put that on real quick. By the way, this right here, you can see all this play, not okay. That's a tremendous amount. And so like, even if I just do it before that part of the very end that goes on the tractor, if I just lift enough until that part doesn't move, and same thing back here, right? That's how much play is in this pivot joint here, this 80-degree joint. It's just worn out, so happens, not much you can do about it. Removing this is pretty simple. We're gonna take this one retainer out. Well, if you couldn't hear that, the geese are back. That means the seasons are definitely changing. Can't hold it. PTO shaft is all on and good to go. So what we're gonna do is go and test it before we switch out these blades, because the blades aren't awful, but they're not great either. All right, so now if I rotate this with the blade, the appropriate blade on it rather, you can see that all the other ones are turning as well, and all the other ones are turning in a direction where they're gonna use the cutting edge of the blade and not the back of the blade to cut. So, like I said, see how they're all going the appropriate direction now? Time to do the center one. Hey, welcome back everyone. Boy, do I got a wild story for you guys. So last video, show some footage right here of it. You saw this thing out brush hogging. So far this year, we have actually used this brush hog to mow over 250 acres. And we got hired by some folks to knock down some land, or knock down some weeds and stuff over at their land. And we did that. What's wild though is that everything we've brush hogged has actually not been real thick. Kind of made me wonder though, because when I'd get to the thicker stuff, like you've seen in the last video, it was really weird that it would leave strips, and it constantly left strips. It could be, you know, just like that sage grass, which I mean, that stuff's kind of thick, but it's not bad. Or even in the sulfur weeds, it would leave strips. But if it was real thin grass, everything got cut perfectly. So I got to thinking, well, you know, it's probably time to just put some blades on. Well, funny story. This one right here, this is the right-hand side wing, had new blades on it. But the blades that were on it were designed to cut if this was actually rotating in a counterclockwise manner. Well, you can see that we've actually got the right blades on it now, but if you look at these, they're designed to spin clockwise. So when I spin them like this, right, it's spinning clockwise. If you look at the center one, it's going the right way as well. Well, then that means that the other side was the wrong blade, and so it was spinning the wrong, well, the blades were the wrong one for the direction that it was spinning. Long story short, the only one that's actually been spinning the correct way with the right blades is the center one. The wings are both reversed and they have the wrong ones on them. I figured I'd point this out real quick just to make sure everybody's being safe. I know it's common sense, but you know, sometimes people just don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. Now I could take this pin out and you can see this piece in the middle. that moves up and down, right? So if I take that out and let that go down, then the hydraulics would control everything. However, with this in, it cannot fall. Now, you could rest it on the hydraulics as well. I don't feel the need to in this case because this actually gets me a little higher and it still has my safety in place right there. So these are the blades that came off of the right-hand side. So that wing right over there that we were just talking about. What's funny about this is right here. So if you look at this, right, you can see it's all dinged up on the back side right there. Look at that. Just beat up bad. And it didn't make sense to me when I took these off, obviously. I was like, wow, like if you look at the cut side, they're just smooth as can be. They're brand new. Like, it looks like they've never touched anything. And I've been mowing. These blades have been on there since we bought this thing. Like I said, we've mowed over 250 acres with it. So, obviously we're switching those. So I took the blades off of that side, the right-hand side, or the passenger side of the tractor. We're gonna switch those blades, which we've already done. We've taken them off of there. We put new blades over there that are the correct direction. And those blades are gonna go over here. Now, for those of you that have never changed a blade on a brush hog, it's pretty simple. So there's a hole right here, and sometimes it's going to be slightly blocked by something like this, but you can still get past that. Not a big deal, not a showstopper. So as I turn this drive shaft over here, you can do any of them because they're all connected, obviously. As I turn that, whoop, there it is right there. So there, I think you can see it on the camera, there's the nut that I'm looking for. We'll bring it down here. As I rotated that, you can see now that the nut that holds the pin on is lined up. So we're going to put an impact on there and back that off. In my case, I needed a 1 11/16 socket. Yours might be different, might be the same. Sit down on this and hopefully not hurt myself. Oh man. Nope, we got it. Cheater bar method worked. Moving on. Now what I like to use is a sledgehammer. This is probably a 12-pound sledge. And then I also like to use a grade 8 bolt. You'll notice that I left the nut on one end, and then obviously the other end's got the head on it. I hit the head end. I leave this end on there like that so I don't mess up the threads. Plus, it gives me a wider base so I can just set the bolt on there, and I can swing with no repercussions of hitting my hands or somebody else's. And it's also important that it sticks up above the top of the deck. Pretty sure you'd figured that out, but I'll mention it. It's a good sound. It came right out. Now you could probably get by with a smaller hammer. It just depends. If it's been a while since that blade's been changed, or it sat in the weather with a bunch of grasses and stuff on it, it's all corroded, it's gonna be a headache. But, well, as you already knew, I kind of mowed all my property already, but Jason's got this real thick stand of sulfur weeds, and you can see that we are knocking it down with no problems, and we're actually running lower RPMs because it cuts it just fine. So I'd say that was our issue, and now that we have that solved, we're in much better shape. Like I said, for the life of me, could not figure out the strips that it was leaving. I just couldn't. It had me baffled. Now back to the good life. Auto steer and music. Catch you guys later. If you look way over there in the distance, you'll see the top of a John Deere tractor. He's doing the outsides on these fields. Like I said, I'm just knocking out the big open pieces in the middle because he has a smaller brush hog and a shorter tractor, so it's easier for him to go in and out and around trees. Not only that, but it's his ground. He knows where stumps are, so it saves me the headache of trying to find them or finding them. Especially after I just put new blades on, I don't want to tear them up. So we're in really good shape though. Our vibration is completely gone. So like we have absolutely no vibration now at all. We can run any RPM and it cuts. Maybe not, you know, maybe not below 1,000, but we can run lower RPMs and it's cutting just fine. Like right now, I'm at 1,700, and I mean, I showed you guys we're in a pretty thick stand of ragweed, and yeah, that's much better. So, for those of you that have a Bush Hog and you got a vibration, double check your blades. Make sure they're in the right orientation, because if they're not, it will cause a vibration apparently, and it won't cut well. Obviously, I figured the cutting well thing, but what had me baffled on mine is it would cut well, it would just leave a strip, and I couldn't figure out why, obviously. So, here we are. But other than that, hope you guys found some humor in my situation and got a good laugh at least. Like I said, 250 acres, and realizing that, oh, that's why it's leaving a strip. That's something else. But, like I said, at least it's done and over with now, and we are on the right track to getting everything where it's supposed to be and in good working order. However, that's going to be the end of this video, because I really ain't got nothing else to show you, because it's kind of raining on and off, so I'm not going to throw a drone up in the air. And, yeah, so if you're going to talk about somebody, talk to God about them. And, like always, have a blessed week. We'll see you next time.